Welcome to Law Talk. I'm Matt Hamilton. Today we're discussing Raymore, Missouri Municipal Court. Raymore, Missouri is right off 58 Highway and 71 Highway, now known as Interstate 49, just straight south of Kansas City in the city of Raymore, just east of Belton, Missouri. That's about 20,000 people in the town. The municipal court is located right on 58 Highway, just on the south side. So if you're driving from the highway, it's going to be on your right-hand side. Do not worry about whether or not you're going to be able to find parking. There's a ton of parking right in front of the big new municipal building. Just walk in straight through the front doors. Be about 15 minutes early for court. And it's not just being diligent. The issue is when you first walk in those front doors, there's going to be a table there, and there's going to be a police officer with a bunch of tickets for that court date. You're going to want to check in with that police officer, okay? That's going to bump you to the front of the line. The judge is more likely to call your case early if you've checked in. If you're late for court, that's not going to be much of an option. You just go into the regular court building and wait for them to call your name. Now, the court is located right next to City Hall, so it's going to have hours like 8:30 in the morning till 4:30 in the evening. And you can pay fines and stuff there directly by going to the clerk's office. But for most charges, you're going to have to physically show up at court. Court's not held during normal business hours during the day. The court in Raymore is held twice per month on Thursday evening, typically starting sometimes early, not late at night, say 4 or 5 o'clock. They're going to be starting to handle business, but most of the business is going to be handled 6:30 at night and after that, okay? So expect to be able to show up on a Thursday after work. Judge Nigro is extremely experienced there and a reasonable man. My recommendation is just to be straight and up forward with him. Also, the city prosecutor, Bill Marshall, has been doing this, I think, over 35 years. You're not going to find a better prosecutor, but they're not going to judge. The prosecutor's not going to be dealing with you yourself. You're going to have to get an attorney. He will not talk to you if you're a defendant because, first of all, there's ethical issues. Second of all, he can't give you legal advice ethically. Third, you could give admissions against yourself, and you don't want to be admitting things to him. So he's simply not going to talk to a pro se defendant, somebody handling their own stuff. You're going to need to have an attorney there, okay? Similarly, the court clerks and the judge can't give you legal advice. So what I would say is if you're charged with an offense in Raymore Municipal Court, simply call an attorney, somebody like me, who regularly practices there. There are plenty of attorneys in Raymore too, and simply ask them. Nobody's getting rich off Raymore, Missouri Municipal Court, so they're not going to be vying for a small case. If it's so small that you can handle it yourself and should, the attorney will go ahead and tell you that, won't even charge you. So that's not going to be a problem. Having said that, most charges there, you are better off with an attorney. The reason why is if it's a traffic offense, being convicted will permanently appear on your driving and criminal record and raise your insurance rates much more than just paying the attorney and having him handle it for you. Also, if it's a drug charge or a DWI, it's a no-brainer. You don't want to be having difficulty getting a job, getting a loan, or having a more harsh result because you have a criminal record now or a drug of conviction on your record. You don't want to have that problem. So just take care of it in a nice, easy jurisdiction like Raymore where you can get a reasonable result, okay? The types of punishments that Raymore Municipal Court hands out are going to be fines, jail time, or probation, where they're asking you to do something in lieu of jail. Now, Raymore has its own jail, so they will put people into jail if you press them on it. So I just wouldn't go there, all right? Fines go up to $225 per charge. So if you're charged with 2 charges, it could be $225 each. You're spending $450. Okay. Now, jail time can be significant, but it's unusual for people to spend significant jail time. Typically, your main risk is a conviction on your record and a fine. All right. If it's a more serious charge, Judge Nigro may put you on probation sentence you to some jail but says, I'm not going to execute on that sentence, I'm going to ask you to do something. This is typical for certain types of charges. For example, if it's a theft charge, a lot of people will do a shoplifting class. If it's a driving while intoxicated or driving under the influence charge, expect to be doing a victim's impact panel class or a SATOP class, and having to promise the court that you won't get arrested again for a period of time, typically 2 years. On more unusual situations, they will allow for community service, but Raymore, Missouri is not so big on community services as other jurisdictions like Lee Summit. Okay? When you go to Raymore Municipal Court, try not to go directly in your work gear if you have a very dirty job. I see a lot of working men showing up absolutely filthy. That doesn't work well. It's not showing the court respect. If you're not showing them respect, they're more than likely not going to show you a lot of deference. Okay? So take the time, pretend you're going to church, wear something decent. Also, girls tend to show a little bit too much skin or too tight skirts. They're not going to be sexually attracted to you. Don't do that. Okay? Be respectful to the court, and they will show you a little bit of deference back. Okay? Don't show up in pajamas. Don't show up in sweatpants, and don't try to make a political statement out of it. I see people making those mistakes. You'd think that it's some story, but it happens pretty much every court date. You'll see some people doing that. Don't do it. That's silly. Okay? Now, a lot of people ask, can I get a court-appointed attorney in Raymore Municipal Court? Probably not. 99% of the time, you're not going to get a free court-appointed attorney. To get a free court-appointed attorney, you have to do several things. First of all, the court has to make a finding that you're indigent, that you have so little money you can't possibly afford an attorney. The second thing that has to be done is the prosecutor has to make a formal statement to the court that, hey, I'm requesting jail time in this case. Well, it's very unusual for the prosecutor to insist on jail time and for the person to be indigent. So I would not expect a court-appointed attorney. Okay? Now, when you're handling these matters, simply put, call an attorney that's doing in the area. Plan ahead. Don't do it 2 hours before court, and simply ask. Okay? You'll get some good advice. 9 times out of 10, they won't charge you for that advice, and you'll be able to plan ahead and know exactly what you're facing. That will make life a whole lot easier on you. Also, it may be that you can handle it without any problems at all, and your fears go away, and the whole thing goes away. You may have a defense, but the only way to find that out is to call in advance and do it. So that's my recommendation. That's Raymore Municipal Court. Hope this helps you. Look for our other videos where I talk about specific subjects within this realm, and that'll help you if it applies to you. Okay? Thank you for joining us.